Okay. Another video. When should a little girl submit to a daddy? Well, I can tell you one thing. It's not the first. It's not the first exchange. Any daddy that comes in hard and fast with "call me little girl" or trying to set rules or whatever, that is not the one. It's not going to end well. And I know that you want a daddy really bad, and you want somebody to call your own, and you want to feel taken care of, and I know you want all those things. And I promise you, there's daddies out there that want a little girl and want somebody to lay on their lap and pet them and somebody to take care of as well. Us daddies need that as much as a little girl. And we both, in a dynamic, have the same intrinsic value. You have no less value than a daddy, so you have to look at it like just a beautiful dance, like the Argentinian tango, where you have a leader and a follower, and both are equals. Like, at the end of the day, we're both equals. And little girls, they choose to submit. They don't have an obligation to. It's a daddy's job to wake up every single day and seduce consent from his little girl, seduce submission, to treat her well, to never forget these things. So when do you consent to a daddy? I think in the beginning of a daddy-little girl relationship, all BDSM relationships, but obviously being a daddy, I'm going to speak about what I know best. The beginning is super, super important, because that is the foundation you're building everything else on. This is when you lay down ground rules that are important to you, boundaries that you don't want crossed, and you have to be true to yourself. You have to establish these things, and you have to accept that you're going to want things. Certain daddies aren't going to be okay with it, and they're going to not be interested. Your goal isn't to just keep everybody. Your goal is to find a long-term relationship that's sustainable, and it's not sustainable if you're not true to yourself. So this is the time to establish those things. Establish rules around punishment. You have equal say in this. You have equal say. This is how the dynamic should start, and it should grow from there. But you are basically laying down the groundwork together, and then it's the daddy's job to keep things together, to keep things running smoothly, to maintain things, to make sure the relationship's healthy, to check in with you and make sure that you're getting your needs met. And so the submission is a beautiful thing. It is a gift. It is I truly believe it is the most beautiful thing that a man can be given in this world, is the submission of a woman. So I don't think it should be taken for granted ever. And so in the beginning of a relationship, you have to remember you're on equal footing. And just because you have a strong desire to submit, or just because the daddy has a strong desire to care for, doesn't mean that there's an obligation to do that initially. You need to lay down ground rules. You need to make sure that this is going to be a good, safe daddy for you. You need to make sure that you guys are on the same page. You need to ask about what kind of discipline they want. You need to establish these things, because, and I keep re-emphasizing this, because if you don't like spanking, this isn't about you conforming to what the daddy wants or his style. This is about you two figuring out the style of the relationship. So if you don't like spankings for a punishment, then you can say no spankings. If a daddy doesn't like spankings for a punishment because he thinks they're just for playtime or for fun, then that's fine. These are things that you need to establish. If one daddy might think an enema is a good punishment, another little girl might say no, never. Or a little girl might be, not have any interest in anal for whatever reason. And a daddy, it's not his place to say, yes, that's mandatory. Little girls do this thing. It's your place together to decide what you will be together. So I think you need to really remember that and take that very, very seriously initially, even if it's difficult for you. And then once you've established that you have a reasonably safe partner, he's consistent, he does what he says, he's on time, he cares about your feelings, he's truly trying to understand and listen and explain things, then I think you've established that you probably have somebody safe to move forward to, and it's a good time to give up more submission. But it is definitely something that should be earned, and I can't stress this enough. Initially, make a daddy earn it. Make him earn your trust. Don't just blindly give it to him. And I think that will make for a long-term healthy dynamic. And those are my thoughts on it. I don't know if I got off task though. Did I get super off task or track? I do that sometimes. Hopefully this is like all fluid and makes sense, but I know I got a little off task on the punishments, rewards, but really this is a really important time to establish those things. Also, take a love language test. I think that's great. Like, figure out a way to love each other in the ways you need so that there isn't confusion or you're not feeling neglected. This is a great time to establish rules, and I think write them down. Start an email exchange between each other and write down things that are hard limits, soft limits, like must-haves, core needs, things like that, and just send it back and forth until you have something worked out. But if you suggest that as a little girl, a daddy should be very amiable to that and welcome that idea and enthusiastically do it, because the reality is, in knowing that you will speak up for yourself, you provide us with a lot of safety. I don't have to overthink. I don't have to worry. I don't have to stress. I don't have to wonder if you're doing something just to make me happy, which I don't think any daddy would ever want that, ever. So if you're able to speak up, that provides a lot of safety to us, and that offers us some freedom to not have to overthink and focus that attention on you. So those are my thoughts on it.